Immediate versus what?
Important.
Hey, Annette. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. So, I'm going around and asking people about the 4 eyes. Tell me about the 4 eyes.
4 eyes. I think that's Iowa.
Honestly, I do not do that.
What can you tell me about the 4 eyes?
4 eyes. I struggle with this one sometimes.
Illinois.
It's what we called kids with glasses.
Oh, my God.
4 eyes, 4 eyes, 4 eyes.
Indiana.
4 eyes in Mississippi.
4 eyes.
Do you recall the 4 eyes?
I recall they exist.
Idaho. That's the 4 eyes.
4 eyes, 4 eyes, 4 eyes.
No, seriously, in the Itlp we learned about the 4 eyes, and we stressed that throughout the whole program, and those are initiate, inquire, invest, and influence. And I think that I try to live by those and remember those as I'm going out and trying to meet people. If you never initiate a conversation, you don't know anything about that person. And I think the inquirers ask them how they feel about stuff rather than just tell them how you feel. The investing, you've got to invest time and energy into getting to know people and building relationships. And then after all of those 3 things, use your influence to help each other understand what you can do for each other and how you can help each other and grow in leadership.
Honestly, I do not do that.
Do you do any impressions?
I don't.
Okay.
And of course there's Brian, which, do you have something I can throw?
The image of Brian with the eraser.
So, yeah, actually my Brian impression would be to grab this marker and throw it faster. That would be my Brian impression.
Yeah, there's...
Had it been sharp, it would have stuck in the wall without a doubt.
There were very few things thrown.
Lori is in some ways kind of the opposite of that.
No, Lori was always full of wisdom and would always say awesome things.
Lori was my coach, and I really enjoyed Lori. She was just, I always felt like, I should have to pay her like a psychiatric fee.
She's more of the quiet, empathetic, identify mantra.
She really is. She's just, that emotional intelligence level that she has is pretty amazing.
Well, I could probably imitate Gary with a glass of wine.
How am I intentional? How am I intentional? I can't really be unintentionally intentional.
It's more knowing who I am and how I do things.
I've definitely been focusing more on being intentional with how I interact with people, with what goals I have going into a meeting. If there's specific points that I feel should be discussed in a meeting or specific actions that should be taken, I'm more intentional about how I'm bringing those up in a meeting, So
Immediate versus what?
Important.
What are the 3 lenses?
I don't remember.
There's a cultural lens,
So it's political.
a political lens,
Cultural. Is cultural one of them?
Yes.
and one more. Putting yourself into a position to not just think black and white, or a little bit outside your world, or maybe empathy, or at least having an appreciation that there's a bigger picture here.
Sometimes there's one really great answer, but culture of either a department like ITS or the University of Iowa is just against it for some reason.
When you look at a desired future state and assess the current state, what are you doing?
Thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight?
When you look at desired future state and assess the current state, what are you doing?
Well, if you're
on the balcony.
When you look at a desired future state and assess the current state, what are you doing?
Being strategic. You're, looking at the desired state.
Yeah. Gap analysis. Yeah. Do you remember that?
I do remember gap analysis, yeah.
They call it a gap analysis.
A gap analysis.
Yes. Yeah.
When you look at a desired future state and assess the current state, what are you doing and why?
So I think you're talking about a gap analysis.
What about your buttons? Brian talked to us about buttons. Do you have any buttons, Laura? You seem so composed all the time.
I have tons of buttons, Jennifer.
So that sense of entitlement, which then I think leads to kind of a level of disrespect.
So I think that one of them for me is a lack of planning.
One is a lack of communication.
Or they just want to say, well, I know somebody who could have done it. Just, it's not helping anybody.
So leadership. I think that's about getting my team to do what I want them to do and doing all my work for me so I can go golf.
Everybody has the books they read, right?
Yeah.
One of my main books that I read is Lincoln on leadership, and so I've read that backward forward. I think he was an amazing leader, somewhat of an unintentional leader in ways, but he was just brilliant on how he did it. Surrounding himself with diverse opinions when it maybe wasn't the easiest path.
You're using the whole team and looking at their strengths and their skill sets and bringing everybody in the team as an important factor in getting the job done.
I would say number one is just the sense of community.
One of the strong pluses for me has been being able to meet and interact and build strong relationships with people that I otherwise wouldn't have met.
All the stuff in the program is valuable, but it was the meeting the people at other institutions.
The networking and the relationship.
The best part of it was building relationships with all of the other people that I did not know previously.
Definitely the biggest was the relationship building.
I think it's the relationships that you're building with people.
Tell me about the pluses and deltas of the ITLP experience.
So I think that the ITLP program overall has been very good, both for me personally and also for our campus. I think that a couple of pluses for me. One is the networking and the relationship building. I really feel like this has helped us to build a community and a leaderful community that is willing to work together to help solve problems. So I think there's been a really...
I guess I really don't have any deltas.
I don't like brothers.
That Brian would let me put on a flip chart, so...
Are there any people you wish you hadn't met through the ITLP?
Oh, probably.
Like who? What are the three lenses?
Oh crap. I do know this. I wasn't ready for quizzes.